What's good, everyone? It's your shot, Buie. Thanks for coming back for another episode of Ballin' with Buie, where I cover the hottest topics in sports, especially if they are OU related. Like I said yesterday, I'm going to finish breaking down the Super Bowl. Today, I'm going to break down the Buccaneers offense versus the Chiefs defense, and then I'll give my Super Bowl prediction at the end. So let's dive in. Start off the Buccaneers offense. Tom Brady, of course, 4,633 yards on the year, which is third best in the NFL, 40 touchdowns, which was second best, only behind Aaron Rodgers, who's probably going to win MVP, 12 interceptions, which was 28th in the league. And then when you look at his postseason numbers, which have been pretty solid, aside from one game, I would say, 860 yards, which is first. I mean, they played 3 games, so it's kind of what you expect. 7 touchdowns, first, 3 interceptions, which is second, only behind Ben Roethlisberger. He threw 4 in one game, and Tom Brady threw his 3 against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. He's got a 79.1 QBR in the postseason. And I mentioned before, Chiefs won 27-24 in Week 12 when they met up. Tom Brady in that game was 27-41, 345 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. When we look at the running backs, Ronald Jones, he's just shy of 1,000 yards on the year, 978 yards, 7 TDs. And they got Leonard Fournette later in the year, 211 yards in the postseason with Ronald Jones out for a little bit, which is second just behind Cam Akers. Receivers, obviously you got Mike Evans. He had 1,006 yards on the year and 13 TDs, which is 4th best in the league. In their first meeting, he went for 50 yards and 2 TDs, but he only had 3 catches. So 2 of his catches ended up being touchdowns. And I expect him to get more production in this next matchup. You got Chris Godwin, obviously, 97 yards in their first meeting. And they got Rob Gronkowski, 106 yards in the first meeting. And since then, they've added Antonio Brown. And Scotty Miller's kind of emerged as more of a threat. And their kicking game, 36-39 on field goals, pretty solid. So not really an issue for them. Jumping to the Chiefs defense, got Tyrann Mathieu, 6 interceptions on the year, 3rd best in the league. He added 1 more in the postseason. 358 yards per game, 16th best in the league. 236 passing yards per game, 14th best in the league. And then 122 rushing yards in the league. Rushing yards per game, 21st best in the league. So they're middle of the pack defense. Like, nothing too outstanding. Numbers don't really pop out at you. I mean, they've got some athletes, but they don't have any stars aside from Tyrann Mathieu, really, in my opinion. But they got Chris Jones, they got Snead, they got Breeland, Ward, etc. I mean, they got some good players, obviously, because they're in the Super Bowl. You don't get to the Super Bowl without having outstanding athletes on either side of the ball. But when we look at the matchup of Buccaneers offense versus the Chiefs defense, I definitely would give Buccaneers offense an advantage. I mean, Tom Brady, he is old, and before this season, I would have called him a system quarterback. I mean, he thrived under Bill Belichick. He comes over to the Buccaneers, and one season takes him to the Super Bowl. I understand he has weapons and stuff, but you're not a system quarterback if you can lead 2 teams to the Super Bowl. So obviously it wasn't just all Bill Belichick. I kind of think Tom Brady just kind of rode along and let Bill control everything, but I think he's had a little bit more control. He's been a lot more relaxed in Tampa, which I think has been fun for him, you know. He's been able to open up more, have a different kind of relationship with his head coach than he did with Bill Belichick. Throw some random stats at you. Chiefs have the 9th highest blitz rate in the NFL, which Brady has done very good against the blitz, but one side of it, Chiefs are first in cover 0 usage, which means man-to-man across the board, no help. And Brady struggles heavily against cover 0, and the Chiefs are going to throw a lot of cover 0 at you. I assume Tyrann Mathieu is probably going to expose Tom Brady in this game. I don't know if he's going to get a pick, but I think Tom Brady will throw an interception, maybe 2. If I was to predict, I would probably say he would throw 2 interceptions in the game, the last one coming. Just trying to lead the team down the field or something in the 4th for crunch time. That would be my guess if he was to turn the ball over. I think he's going to turn it over at least once, though, for sure. Bucs offensive line, 7th best in pass blocking efficiency. They have a very good offensive line, and the Chiefs don't really have too good of a pass rush, not like the Bucks have. The Bucks can come after you, and the Chiefs, they don't really have those guys. So I don't really know if they're going to be able to get to Tom Brady, but we will see. One thing that the Chiefs do struggle with is the receivers or the running backs getting in the receiving game. They're the worst in the league with covering, not the worst, but they're one of the worst teams in the league with covering the receivers in the running backs in the receiving game. The Bucks don't really utilize that, but I expect them to utilize it in the Super Bowl. If they don't, then they're stupid for not, because they need to get the ball in Leonard Fournette's hands in the receiving game and just let him go. I mean, I know he's not going to fly down the field, but the Chiefs struggle in covering it, so you have to at least attempt it. The Chiefs also are very terrible in the red zone. Their touchdown rate, once teams get in the red zone, is the worst in the league. They're also the worst in the league in short yardage, so 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 3rd and 2. Short yardage situations, Chiefs don't stop you, and the Bucks just so happen to be first on the offensive side of the ball in short yardage situations. A lot of that probably Tom Brady, just quarterback sneak. He's been doing it for years, so he's good at it. He knows how to do it. So if crunch time, you see a lot of possessions where the Bucks have to convert some short yardage situations. Don't be surprised if they convert them and the Chiefs can't stop them. Then we look at Pro Football Focus, PFF, like I did in the last podcast, break down what offensive players are in it for the Buccaneers. Got Tom Brady at 2, Chris Godwin at 11, Mike Evans at 12, Antonio Brown at 13, Ryan Jensen, their center, at 20, Rob Gronkowski at 23, and then Cameron Brate, their other tight end, at 28. And then on the defensive side of the ball for the Chiefs, got Chris Jones at 5, Tyrann Mathieu at 10, got Snead at 19, Rashad Fenton at 21, Breeland at 24, and Ward at 25. So I already mentioned that the Chiefs had 4 of the top 5, but only 11 of the top 30. The Bucks had 1 player in the top 5, and had 19 of the top 30. Just Chiefs defensive side of the ball, they had 6 in the top 30, and Bucks offensive side of the ball at 7 in the top 30. Like I mentioned before, last podcast, the Chiefs are the better overall team, I think. The Buccaneers are the better overall team. The Chiefs just happen to have better athletes. You got Tyreek Hill, you got Travis Kelce, you got Pat Mahomes. Those aren't on the Buccaneers team. Mike Evans isn't on Tyreek Hill's level. But they have more weapons. And on the defensive side of the ball, that is, I wouldn't say they have more weapons on offense, because the Chiefs have the best offense in the league. But I think it's going to be a very good game. Getting to my prediction here, I thought a lot about this. When I first started thinking about it, I was like, the Chiefs, man, they don't really lose. And talking about this season in particular, they just don't lose games. And they come out hot, and they just don't allow you to take the lead back. But I think this game is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be one of the best Super Bowls in history, potentially. I mean, you have Tom Brady, who is arguably the GOAT. I think he's the GOAT. And you have Patrick Mahomes, who is going to try and unseat Tom Brady from being the GOAT. So you have the Kobe LeBron matchup that we didn't get, or you want to say the Michael LeBron matchup, whatever. But I think it has that magnitude. But first quarter, I think the Chiefs are going to come out hot. They always do. They got plus 24 at first quarter differential in the year. And I think they take a commanding 14-3 lead in the first quarter, because Tom Brady, in all of his 9 Super Bowls, this will be his 10th, in his 9 Super Bowls, he has only scored 3 points in the first quarter, out of all 9 combined. He's never gotten a touchdown in the first quarter, so I don't expect that trend to change. I mean, I wouldn't bet against it if 9 times that's all he's gotten. So I think they get a field goal in the first quarter, because I can't imagine the Buccaneers blanking them. Then I think in the second quarter, Bucks will try to make some adjustments. They'll slow down Kansas City Chiefs a little bit. Tom Brady will get a feel for things, start to roll. And I think they'll knot it up 17-17 heading into half. And coming to the third quarter, things going to be back and forth. And I think the Bucks will grab their first lead of the game in the third quarter. And I think they will have the lead at the end of the third quarter, 27-24. So going into the fourth, Bucks have the lead by 3. And I think it's Patrick Mahomes' time. Like, fourth quarter is going to be his time to kind of get on the right path of becoming the greatest quarterback of all time. I know he just got in the league, but we've never seen a Patrick Mahomes, just like you've never seen a LeBron James when he got into the league. We've never seen a Tom Brady, but Patrick Mahomes is a different kind of animal, I think, and I think he's gonna dominate the fourth quarter to lead the Chiefs to a victory. With that being said, Chiefs went on blanked the 49ers in the Super Bowl last year, 21-0 in the fourth quarter. So I kind of think that happens again. I don't think they're going to blank them, but I think the Chiefs do put up 17 points in the fourth quarter, and I think there will be a major turnover in the fourth by Tom Brady. Him trying to force the ball downfield maybe, or him not reading the cover zero as it should be read, because he struggles against it heavily. And I think the Chiefs make the big plays to win back-to-back Super Bowls. Mahomes gets another Super Bowl MVP, and Chiefs take it home 41-34. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a good game. Everyone should catch it. Everyone should watch it for sure. I think that concludes this podcast, though. Share with your friends. Share with everyone. I'll see you on Monday to break down the post-reaction of the Super Bowl. Deuces.